Hello chess lovers, Soren here, and in this video I want to share with you an interesting game where Bobby Fischer demonstrates solid defensive skills. In this game Fischer is on the black side and on the white side is Romanian international chess master Victor Ciocaltea. The game was played in 1968 in Netanya, which is a city in Israel. But before starting our game, first want to sharpen your tactical skills. Please take a look at this position and try to find the winning move for white. There is a mate in 4 and I will wait for your answer in the comment section. Back to our main board, and now without further ado, let's get started with this fascinating game and see what happened on the board. Ciocaltea opened up with e4 and Fischer responded with his usual Sicilian defense. c5, knight f3, d6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3 and a6. Fischer goes for Najdorf variation, which usually leads to double-edged positions. Bishop g5, white is choosing the main line, e6, f4, bishop e7, queen f3, queen c7, white castles queenside, knight bd7 and g4. White wants to launch an attack as soon as possible. Another key alternative is bishop d3, but in our game we have g4. So far the players were making the most popular moves. b5 by Fischer. In return he is starting an advancement on the queen side, and at the same time is preparing to fianchetto his light squared bishop. Bishop takes f6 was played by Ciocaltea, knight takes f6, g5, knight d7, and this time we have f5, knight c5. Well, black could also capture on g5, this is another popular line, and then play knight e5, but in our game we have knight c5. Fischer is choosing a more solid line, f6, g takes f6, g takes f6, and now black will never manage to castle kingside. Bishop f8, white managed to somewhat damage black's pawn structure on the kingside, but on the other hand, now it becomes a bit difficult to figure out how to continue with the attack. In here we have bishop h3, though I have to tell you that the most popular move is rook g1. But in our game we have bishop h3. Fischer played b4 and knight d5. An aggressive move by Romanian chess master. He's sacrificing his knight. As you know, this is a very standard sacrifice in Sicilian defense, but let's see, will this work against Bobby Fischer? He takes d5. Fischer accepted the knight sacrifice. He takes d5. By sacrificing a piece, white managed to open up the e-file, and now we'll start harassing black king. Here Fischer captured on h3. This is what you should do when you are on the defensive side. You should try to exchange as many pieces as possible in order to neutralize your opponent's attack. Rook e1 check, king d8. In here we have another division took, knight c6 check, and only after king c8 Ciocaltea captured on h3 with a check. Queen takes h3, king b7, and knight takes b4. Well, if we have a look at the position, Fischer managed to bring his king on the queen side, where it's in a safety, and white has only 2 pawns against a piece. All in all, the position is equal, though white has to play precisely. If black can manage to simplify the position, then black can easily win. That's why all the time white needs to find ways of proceeding with the attack. Queen d7. Yes, Fischer is offering the exchange of queens, but of course accepting the offer can be catastrophic for white. White is keeping alive his queen. Queen h5, rook g8, knight c6, a5, and queen takes h7. White is winning the h-pawn, but in return his f6 pawn is vulnerable, and now Fischer will come after it. Rook g6 is on the board. King b1, rook h6, queen g8, and we have rook takes f6, queen g2, king b6, and rook d4. So far so good. I have to tell you that at this point still engines are evaluating the position as equal, or in some cases are giving black a slight advantage, but all in all the position is equal, though in my humble opinion playing this position from black's perspective is easier. Black has a psychological advantage, you know, because black has an extra piece, and from white's side it's not quite clear how white can attack. For example, one of the possible ways of proceeding with the game in here can be queen g3. If rook g6, then queen f2. The idea is to keep the queen on this diagonal and try to bring into life an idea of a3 b4, but white made a mistake, played rook d4. The rook is coming to support the advance of the b pawn, but it turns out that this gives black absolutely nothing. Queen f5 was played b4, and after a takes b4, rook takes b4, check, king c7, white resigned. Ciocaltea saw that he can no longer proceed with the attack and resigned, because right now black wants to offer the exchange of queens, simplify the position, and yes, in here white's position is already totally lost. We can say that Fischer simply waved away white's attack, right? Well, thanks for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this game. Many of you are usually criticizing me by saying, hey Suren, all the time you are uploading attacking games. That's why this time I decided to share with you a game where it was the defensive side to manage to win the game. In the end, here are more suggestions for you. If you are interested in Fischer's games, here is a playlist, and I will see you in my next video. Take care!